Back in the day, it used to be that you rarely ever find aftermarket accessories for a console, specifically replacement controllers, that were any good at all. I think the only exceptions I ever found were those made by Nintendo for the NES, an ASCII controller for the Super Nintendo, and I love this old Mad Catz controller that I used to have for the Sega Dreamcast. Other than that, I've almost always stuck with the standard controller, like the company-issued controller for every game system I've ever had, because it's always been the best. Now, with the Xbox 360, I found two controllers that I actually prefer over the standard Xbox controller. And one of those is actually a standard Xbox controller that's modded by a third party, and the other is the Razer Sabertooth. That's a completely new controller, and I like it tremendously. The first one, obviously, is the Scuf Gaming controller. So today I was watching a video that Xbox, or Microsoft, actually released, and it really goes in and details the new Xbox One controller, which I was a little bit disappointed about when I first saw it, mainly because I was hoping that they would take some of the innovations that both Razer and Scuf had made with the Xbox 360 and incorporate those into the standard controller, especially the paddles in the back with both the Scuf and the Sabertooth, and maybe some programmability so you can, if the game you're playing doesn't allow controller configuration, maybe your controller itself will. And that was the kind of stuff that I was hoping to see with the Xbox One controller. I didn't see any of that. What I did see was, kind of more of the same. A slightly modified Xbox 360 controller, the headset port was different, and a couple of other very minor iterations like the rumble triggers. Now, on this video that they just released, they kind of go through and detail some of the stuff that they think is worth noting. And they say that there's 40 improvements to the controller. And I think a lot of that is probably behind the scenes stuff that we'll never notice or ever see. They talk about improved bandwidth of communication between the controller and the console, which I think we will benefit from. Hopefully that'll mean better voice communication, better lower latency for the controllers themselves, especially over the wireless input method. But what we didn't see were any of the paddles, any of the fun stuff. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff they did say that I am pretty excited about, and I'm going to start with small stuff. Like, they totally eliminated the screws on the back, and they eliminated that big battery hump on the back for the wireless controller. I like that. The battery hump was a little crampy for my hands. I have bigger hands, big adult hands, and I was pretty happy to see that they got rid of that. Initially, I thought it was going to be like the PS3 controller, where you had to charge it. The battery wasn't removable, but it is removable. You can take it out. You can have an extra one charging while you're playing, so you can just swap them in and out real quick while you're playing, and I like that. They also talked a little bit about the D-pad. The D-pad is something, I don't play a lot of fighting games, so the D-pad isn't something that I get super concerned about, but they did say that it's going to be a little bit of a more clicky feel and a little more responsive, and that's good. The current Xbox 360 is a little too mushy for me, and I'm glad to see that. They talked a lot about the analog sticks, and they said, they're a little bit smaller, they're a little bit more responsive, and I think that they hinted at that since there's more bandwidth between the controller and the Xbox One, that they'll actually be sampling at a faster rate. So that should be good. We ought to be able to see that. Obviously, I haven't gotten my hands on one of these yet, so it's hard to say what any of these improvements will be like. They talked also about those little rumble triggers. I'm not super excited about those, but what they did talk about was specifically in a racing game, like say you're going around a corner and the left side of your car is kind of on the, on the border of the track, then the left trigger could rumble and the right could stay sane, giving you a little more feedback into what's happening with your car, and that sounded pretty good. They talked that the controller would have 20% less latency over the wireless connection than the Xbox 360, and that's good news. And they also said that all the controllers will be the same. There won't be two controllers. There won't be a wired and a wireless controller. There'll actually be just one controller, and if you plug it into a USB port, then it turns off the wireless radio and makes it a wired controller, and that's great news. But I gotta be honest with you, I'm really looking forward to what Razer's gonna come out with for the Xbox One and what Scuff hopefully does to mod that controller. So thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.